Oh, we're going to.
For what he had, he didn't have or wasn't.
You see or hear economics. What do you think? What pops in your head? Money. It doesn't have everything to do with money. My definition of economics is getting the most out of your resources. Now, one of the complicated things about economics is it's individual. It's collective. What's collective mean?
Like all together.
Everything. And it's individual. You have an economy, right? Because you have resources and you have whatever, you have your resources you're bringing in and you have to make purchases. So you have an economy. Is your economy going to change in the next 10 years? Yes, it is. Some of y'all fund everything yourself. Some of y'all fund nothing yourself. And eventually, you're all going to fund everything yourself. Yes, you will. Pound that in your head. Eventually, you will fund everything yourself. Nobody else will be there chipping in. No, but what? No. There's you. There's a family. There is a city. There's a state. There's companies. And there's countries. Each one of these things has an economy, right? Every family has their economy. Every city has an economy. Every state, every company. And by company, what are we talking about?
Income, how much they make.
Could be Visa, could be Google, could be
Paradise Market.
or like J. Ryle Plumber. That's a company. Every company has an individual economy. But it all adds up to like our country's economy or the state's economy. And everything affects it. This stuff that happened this spring, where there's some people who lost their jobs and lost their businesses. Was there businesses that took off during that? So everything affects everybody different. Everybody, your company might boom while everybody else is collapsing, or your company might be collapsing while everybody else is booming. It's individual. Does that make sense? And there's all kinds of factors that go into it. All right, factors of production. Let me see, land, labor.
So it's like a direct impact at the time. If like one thing goes off, another thing goes off.
It does domino, but not everybody's affected the same way.
So
Everything affects everybody, but we're not all affected the same way.
So some things can affect positively and some things.
I have no idea how this Zoom crap works. How do they make money? Because I've had to be on 3 of them.
Subscriptions or something like that.
Yeah.
Like schools pay for it, businesses pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know how YouTube
I think the
makes money
school pays
either.
for
Not
it.
YouTube makes money.
Well, I've heard they do ads. I've heard the ad part.
Zoom.
But still, I just,
I don't know, it says like Zoom would get more than like a certain amount of people get to purchase and extend it.
okay.
How can somebody get rich off of YouTube though?
Because
I guess if
Banging
they,
burger.
okay.
well, it's like TV shows. TV shows and radio shows, if they have enough listeners, they can charge this much for their commercials. If they don't have any listeners, they charge this much for their commercials.
Plus on YouTube, with a certain amount of views you get, they charge. You get paid.
It's the commercial.
Views.
They can charge this much, so they can pay this much. And if they charge this much, they pay this much. I know, I kind of get that part. It's just, I've never heard anybody paying for Zoom, but I've heard they're rich. I don't get it. But a lot of stuff I don't get. Land, labor.
Is this on the factors?
Yeah. one I'm forgetting. What page did I say we on?
5.2. Oh, entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, that's a fancy word. We're gonna talk a lot about them. Capital. All right, land. Land is the stuff you use to make a living. Your resources. What you use to make a living. If you're a farmer, what's your land?
The
Land.
Yeah,
Right? You're a farmer, it's land. I use my voice, I use my legs, I use my hand. If I break my left arm, I'm alright. If I break my right arm, is teaching gonna be different for me? Okay? What if I lose my voice? Okay? My whistle, I have to have a whistle. At practice, I have to have a whistle. I don't use it. I've used more this year than ever before. I don't do that. I can't not do that. I'll freak out if I don't have a whistle. I've left practice and gone back to the field house to get a whistle because I have to do that. It's my safety blanket or whatever, security blanket. But the land, whatever resources, if you're a carpenter, it's your hammer. Right? When you go to a roping, what do you gotta have? And your rope. This is up to either one of those. I bet you could do without a house or without a horse before you can do without a rope. You could run and rope. That's possible.
It's gotta have.
I would pay to see that. I would pay to see that.
You get him roped, and then what happens?
Just sit down.
I do.
Just rub and talk.
He wraps around his waist. All right, labor. What's labor?
You put into it.
Whatever work needs to be done. There's two possibilities here for labor. What's the two possibilities of who's doing the labor?
The person can do it, or he can be paying someone to do it.
Either you're doing it, or you're paying somebody to do it. That makes sense? So it's either you, or you pay somebody else. I'm gonna bet 10 of y'all in here own a business someday. 16 of y'all. I bet 10 of y'all are gonna own a business someday. No, I won't. I would never own a business, ever. We did for a while, and I found out why I will never own a business.
Why?
Because then you're dependent on someone else choosing to come buy your stuff for you to make a living. You have no control over it. If you can try, but it's up to them.
And the taxes.
I hate that. I hate that. I hate having to wait on someone to come purchase my thing. Why in the world would anybody pay somebody else to do it?
Because they're lazy.
Because you're making money off of it. The only reason you as a business owner is going to pay somebody else is because you're making money off of it. If you're not making money off of it, are you going to pay somebody else? No. No. Now,
That's what it's really about, business person.
you're not going to eat in the profits. You're not going to not make your house payment because you want someone else to do it. You're going to pay someone else because your business is growing and you want, and that help brings in extra money. That kind of makes sense? All right, entrepreneurs. Anybody know what an entrepreneur is? Anybody who opens a business, comes up with an idea. It doesn't mean they're successful. Anybody opens a business, has an idea, a dream, and they act on it. They might be successful. They might be successful. They might not be. Anybody that opens up a business is an entrepreneur. If you see, I'll give you, okay, definition of an entrepreneur. People that see opportunities that aren't there. They see something that's not being offered. They see a possibility, business-wise, of making money. And then they take a risk
Roll the dice.
to make it happen. I guess I'll go ahead and tell it now. Yeah, Ted Turner. Have y'all ever heard of Ted Turner before? Ted Turner, his family had a successful advertising business in Atlanta. He was not poor, but they weren't mega rich either. They were doing okay, upper middle class, maybe lower upper class. If you're going on vacation, you're probably close to upper class. Anyway, after college, he went to work for him, and he bought this piece of crap little independent TV station. Y'all don't know what that is. It used to be Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 8, and then Channel 11 was an independent station. You had CBS, ABC, NBC, and then you might have a station that ran Three Stooges and cartoons. That was the cool station. That was the independent station. He bought this piece of crap little independent TV station in Atlanta in the early 70s. And people said, "You're an idiot, what are you doing?" Because I got a plan. Now this is gonna make him sound mega rich. This is 1975. He bought the Atlanta Braves. Buying the Atlanta Braves in 75 is not buying the Atlanta Braves in 2020. Right? I think he borrowed a bunch of money, had a little money, and it total overall cost $1 million. Most of that was borrowed. Most of that was credit. And he started putting those games on his local TV station. That doesn't sound weird to y'all. There was no base. There was one game a week on TV. Why did they not televise baseball games?
They didn't have enough workers or stations.
They would, if people can watch it on TV, they're not going to pay to come see the game. There was maybe 2 college football games on TV on a Saturday. There was 2 NFL games televised. Y'all's world's completely different. But he started broadcasting his Braves games on his station, all of them. And people said, "You're an idiot. What are you doing? No one's gonna come watch the games because I got a plan." And then in the late 70s, he bought space on some of the first satellites. He rented space. And in 79, 80, they started doing these cable TV places, like in Montana, places that couldn't get TV, they'd bring cable TV. And his Channel 17 was one of the few little stations that would go to all these cable networks. People in Montana that didn't have a baseball team and liked baseball started watching the Braves. And his little TBS, WTBS, Turner Broadcasting System, was that, and there's just a couple other things on TV, but it was out there, it went all over the country. He got a little bit of money and he started CNN. And in 1982, give or take, and people said, "You're stupid. Who's gonna watch the news 24 hours a day? You watch the news 30 minutes at night. You don't watch the news 24 hours a day." He goes, "We'll see." Then he bought all of MGM's old movies, like from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and he started Turner Movie Channel. He said, "Nobody wants to watch old movies." He started Cartoon Network. He started all these broadcasting things that just took off. And he sold it in the late 80s, early 90s for I think $9 billion. He saw the opportunities before they even happened. I can't do that. That's a gift some people have. You might see something in your life and you think, oh, but someone needs to provide this. And it may or may not make money. He saw something that everybody was gonna hit everywhere. Now, he's successful. Every entrepreneur is not successful. Some of them fail.
I saw a quote, it was like, everything is humanly impossible until it's done.
Until somebody does it. Oh, speaking of, I gotta do the quote. I'm gonna do it in a second. Capital. Capital is anything you own and you use it to make a living or make a profit. It's be a trick question. Do you own the money you get? Is it your money?
Kind of.
Okay, it's federal property, but it's your money. So money is an example of capital. The profit that a company makes is considered capital. If you own the truck that you use at work, is that truck capital? If you're not making payments on it,
Yes, because you don't.
because you own it. What if you're making payments on the truck? Is the truck capital? The payment's capital, the truck's not capital. When I was mowing yards, I owed my dad money for the mower. So the mower was not capital. What I paid him for the mower was capital. What about the gas I put in the mower? Is that capital? Yeah, because I own that. I bought that. So anything you own that you use to make a profit, that's capital. That's where capitalism comes from. The term capitalism comes from you taking what you got and using it to make a profit. Some people think making a profit is evil. I don't think it's evil. Microsoft back in the 90s was sued. I think by the federal government. Because there's Dell computers. And I don't know, I know just enough about this to be dangerous. So don't trust 100% what I'm fixing to tell you. Microsoft made contracts with computer makers where when you got a computer, you automatically had like Microsoft stuff on there. And Dell got mad. I think Dell sued, and then the federal government got in there saying it was a monopoly. And one of the senators in the lawsuit, or in the trial, the hearing there, said, Mr. Gates, how much profit do you make? What percent profit do you make? He said about 75%. So he makes 75% profit. So for every dollar he spent, he made $1.75. He charged 75% more than it cost him to do it. And the senator said, that's un-American to make that much profit. And then I realized this has nothing to do with it. There's no such thing as un-American to make profit.
He's making more money than them.
What if I come up with something everybody wants? Is that a monopoly? No, that's good business. If people are in demand for Microsoft stuff, that's not his fault.
But if we're saying stuff like that, we said the medicinal stuff that the government does.
I always tell people you're worth what you make. If you're not making enough, go do something else. You know, make yourself. All right, this is a question. I'm not doing this for any kind of reason. I try hard to do a good job. I've always done that. Whatever I do. I went on a job interview. 2007. Remember we went to Anna, Coach Porter? Went to Anna and looked around. They offered me a job at Anna. I went to interview. And I told Coach Neighbors, I'm going to go interview. I don't see anything happening. I'm just going to go interview. The superintendent called me in and gave me a raise. I said, I don't need that. I'm not asking for anything. Because I know, we're not. So I guess they thought I was doing a good job. So if you do a good job, you're gonna get something for that. Does that make sense? At least you won't get fired. That's a good thing to not get fired. What was I saying there? But yeah, capital, using anything you own to make a profit. Microsoft didn't hold a gun to anybody's head and say you have to put our stuff in your computer. People just did that. And I don't know what the result of the lawsuit was. I know they started making political donations because they weren't doing it before. I think that was another part of it. But you whatever people are willing to pay for what you're doing, is, I mean, if you can charge this much for it, charge that much for it. If people are willing to pay that, I don't pay. There's always a limit. I stop buying stuff when it gets to a certain price. I'll say, oh, I'm not buying that. Unless I want to. Unless I want it, then I'll pay it. You know what I'm saying? So, those are the four factors. Land, labor, entrepreneurs, capital.
Got your own later.
Yes. We're going to stop after number 3. How about that? Y'all okay with that? We're going to spend about 10 minutes on that and then we're done. The 3 economic questions is, what will I produce? How will I produce it? Who will I produce it for? These are questions every business asks, every business owner asks, every entrepreneur asks. What am I going to produce? What am I going to offer? How will I produce that? Or how will I offer that? And who am I going to make this for? Now I'm going to switch it to y'all. You are going to have to answer these questions for yourself, right? How do you ask the question, what will I produce? What question are you really going to be asking? What am I going to do for a living? What's my career going to be? Does that make sense? Don't do that. You'll be miserable. I misspelled. It's either 2 E's or 1 R. I don't know. Because my roommate makes about 5 times what I do, and he's miserable. He has to get up and go to work every day. He has to show up. He has to go. He goes to work because he has to. I get up in the morning, and I love doing this. This is fun. I also get paid for it. So you've got to ask yourself, what is my career? What am I going to do for the rest of my life? How do you figure that out?
Figure out what you like. Yeah, what you're
What do I like? What are my interests? What are my talents? What am I good at? You need to find a way to make a living doing something you like, something you're interested in. If you're not interested in it, if you don't like it, if you don't have to do it, doing it for the next 40, 50 years is going to be miserable. But if it's something you have to do, if it's something you love and you're interested in, like if I owned a business, oh my gosh, I'd be alone because I'd have no family. They'd leave. I'd be horrible. I'd be miserable. If you're doing something you don't like, if you're doing something you're not interested in, if you're doing something you're not passionate about, you're going to be miserable. Even if you're rich, you're going to be miserable. You may not be rich, but if you wake up every day and you love what you do, you can't wait to get there, you'll be able to handle that. You'll be able to handle not having as much stuff. Way better than you can handle having all the stuff you want and hating every minute. So you think of the things you like. Think of your interests. Just a long time ago, y'all was sleeping. Do you remember what my first job was going to be? What I was going to be? Architect. I was going to be an architect. Can't imagine being in an office with a tie, or nowadays skinny jeans and some kind of boat shoes. Either way, that's miserable. In an office, having to deal with clients, having to, hello, Jonathan, how you doing? Yes. Well, I can't imagine having to do that. Do you remember why was I gonna be an architect?
Cause you wanted to build.
I was interested in that. I was interested in designs. I was interested in what it looked like and how you made it like that. I liked that. So I got rid of it. What was the next thing I was gonna do?
Broadcaster, sports broadcaster.
I was gonna be a
Oh,
sportscaster.
yeah.
Why did that sound good?
Cause you like
You gotta
sports.
I love sports.
And you can talk.
Why not get paid to go watch sports and talk about sports?
I mean, you still made a lot.
Got kicked out of that. Where'd I end up?
High school.
Teaching and coaching. All those were based on things I liked, things I was interested in. And I've got it made. Now, businesses have to say, how am I gonna offer this? How am I gonna produce this? What's this question for y'all? I decide I wanna be a coach, go be a teacher. How am I gonna do that?
What am I
You
gonna
gotta
do?
talk to people, get to know people.
Okay, is there anything else I need?
College education.
Okay, what kind of training do I need? What kind of education am I gonna have to go through in order to get that? Does everybody need college? No. If you don't need college, please don't waste time and money in college. Do not use that as an excuse and say, Coach Ross said I don't have to go to college because you're too lazy to go to college. That's not the reason. If you're too lazy to go to college, work is not going to be a better alternative. But if you need college to do this, what you figured out, you better go. My junior year, I almost quit. I was fed up. I was sick of the education classes where they're telling me don't tell a kid they're wrong and we have to build their self-esteem. I was like, I can't let kids go be idiots. Don't tell them they're wrong. And I almost quit and walked away. I'm glad I didn't. But figure out if you're going to be a carpenter, do you need to go to college? No. If you're going to be an electrician, do you need to go to college? No. If you love that, yeah. If you're just looking for an easy way out, okay. Being an electrician is not the easy way out. Being a plumber is not the easy way out. But if that's what you're made to do, find out what kind of training you need. Find out what kind of education you need. You do need to talk to people. It would be good before you figure out how much time and effort and money you're going to spend to try to do this, get with somebody who does it, maybe even hang out with them for a day or two. See if it's at all what you think it needs to be. Does that make sense? All right. And last, who will I produce it for? Businesses are thinking, who are we going to try to sell this to? Who are we going to try to offer this to? What do you need to figure out?
Am I gonna do it? The people that do it.
Who do you make? This question is, who's going to pay me? And there's two choices. What are your two choices about who's going to pay me?
Yourself.
Am I going to go work for somebody else, or am I going to have the public pay me? Okay, I'm either going to, if I have an employer, or if I'm going to own the business and the public pays me. What is great about working for someone else?
There's more people.
All the stuff is taken care of, like if your insurance isn't there or whatever, like health insurance, you don't.
My
have to worry about it.
responsibility is very low.
Then again, you're
I don't have to worry about profits and insurance and problems. And I go punch in, they tell me what to do, I go do it, and then I punch out, and do I think about it again? No. The boss, does he think about it again? He never punches out. He can't even probably sleep at night thinking about all the stuff that has to be done. You don't have that. 2 years ago, told Coach Cook, why don't you let Tommy come in and be the head track coach? when you're it's your first day on the job, who digs the ditches? You do. You're digging the hole. There's someone up there telling you where to dig the hole, how to dig the hole, and when you're finished digging the hole, and you look up there and you go, man, I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy telling people where. I don't want to dig the hole anymore. So, and you get to be the guy telling people where to dig the holes. And you do that for 20 years, and then you go, you know what? I'm tired of figuring out where to dig the holes. I just want to dig a hole. So if anyone has a track question today, I simply say, I don't know, you need to ask the track coach. If we go to a track meet, I'm relaxed. I don't make any decisions at the track meet. My job is to make fun of people and coach some track. Any problems? Go see him. I don't know, go see him. That's a great life. All right? That's a great, last year, what was Dillard, Dakota Dillard, he asked me one day, he said, why aren't you the head track coach anymore? So I explained it to him. And then that day of track workout, Tommy's telling him stuff, and I'm right behind him, I'm just going. And he just laughed. So if you're an employer, what's the drawback here?
You don't know what.
You don't get to make
so
that
you don't
decision.
get to choose what insurance and all that.
Okay, you're limited as to where you can go. Okay, so your ceiling is low. Does that make sense? There's a limit to what you can be, where you can go in that particular company. You're never going to be the boss. There's a limit to your profit, limit to decision making. You do what they say. What if you are the boss?
There's no limit.
You get to do what you want. Or what I want. You make the decisions. Is there a limit to how much you can make? You can make more. You can be more successful. Possible. What's the negative here? You have all the responsibility. Everything is on your shoulders. So there's good and bad here. I am not made out to be this. I can't lay there hoping people come buy stuff from you so you stay in business. I can't imagine doing that. So does that make sense? Those are 3 economic questions. Good enough. Thank you very much. Way to go.